If you're a type A woman, prioritization probably feels like something you should already be good at. You're organized, you make lists, you plan ahead, you know what needs to be done. And yet, everything feels important. Everything feels like it counts. So even when you prioritize, the pressure doesn't really go down. You just rearrange your stress.
That's because prioritization isn't actually about choosing what to do first. For type A women, the real problem is deciding what doesn't deserve ongoing attention. Most advice assumes you're struggling because you can't decide what matters, and that's not true. You care about too many things, and no one ever taught you how to filter responsibility without guilt.
For type A women, prioritization gets tangled up with identity. You don't just see tasks, you see outcomes, people, and consequences. When something needs to be done, it feels personal. Ignoring it feels irresponsible. Letting it slide feels like failure. So instead of prioritizing, you carry everything mentally and hope capacity magically expands.
And that's why common advice like just pick 3 priorities doesn't land, because your brain immediately responds with, but what about all these other things that still matter? Type A women don't struggle with awareness, they struggle with permission. Permission to decide that some things matter but don't get to count right now.
This is the distinction that changes everything. Something can be important without counting. Important means it has value. Counting means it actually deserves your time, energy, and focus right now. When type A women feel behind, it's usually because they're treating everything that's important as if it counts equally.
But your brain can't carry unlimited counts. When everything counts, nothing ever feels finished. Prioritization isn't about denying importance. It's about deciding where your limited cognitive energy actually belongs. And that decision has to be made intentionally, not emotionally.
This is where type A patterns really show up. Hustlers tend to prioritize based on obligation. If someone needs something, it rises to the top. If there's urgency, it wins. Hustlers equate responsibility with priority, so they end up serving everything equally and burning out in the process.
Overplanners prioritize based on optimization. They want to choose the best option, the most efficient path, the smartest order of operations, so they delay choosing until they feel certain. But while they're waiting, everything stays open in their head, and that lack of decision becomes the source of stress.
Avoiders prioritize based on emotional comfort. Tasks that feel unclear, heavy, or high stakes get pushed aside, even if they matter. Meanwhile, small or easier tasks get attention because they feel manageable. That creates a cycle where the most important work never quite gets addressed.
This is why telling type A women to do less doesn't help. You don't need to care less, you need to decide differently. Without a filtering system, doing less just creates anxiety because the unchosen tasks don't disappear. They stay in your head, waiting.
Real prioritization isn't reduction, it's direction. It's choosing what deserves focus and allowing the rest to exist without constant attention. When that distinction isn't clear, your brain stays in a constant state of vigilance, even on productive days.
Effective prioritization for type A women starts with a different question. Not what's most urgent and not what feels heavy, but what actually moves an outcome I'm responsible for. That shift alone removes a huge amount of unnecessary pressure.
Instead of ranking tasks, you filter them. You decide which outcomes matter this season, which ones matter later, and which ones don't belong to you at all. When an outcome isn't active, related tasks stop counting. They're still important, but they're parked, not carried. For hustlers, prioritization means separating impact from obligation. Just because you can do something doesn't mean it counts. Hustlers need to decide in advance what outcomes they are responsible for and let everything else be someone else's problem, even if it's uncomfortable.
For overplanners, prioritization means choosing decisions over preparation. You don't need more information, you need closure. Overplanners stay productive by finalizing decisions sooner and trusting that clarity will come from action, not more thinking.
For avoiders, prioritization means clarity before comfort. The goal isn't to avoid pressure, it's to reduce ambiguity. Avoiders move forward when tasks are clearly defined, time-bound, and limited. When the first step is obvious, the resistance drops.
Here's a simple test. If this task disappeared today, would it materially affect an outcome you're responsible for? If the answer is no, it doesn't count, at least not right now. That doesn't make it unimportant. It just means it doesn't deserve your mental energy today.
This is how you stop feeling behind. Not by catching up, but by narrowing the field. When fewer things count, progress becomes visible. Completion starts creating relief again.
Prioritization isn't about becoming less capable or less committed. It's about choosing where your capability actually gets used.
You don't need to do less of everything. You need to stop letting everything count equally.
When you decide what truly matters and allow the rest to wait, productivity stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like progress.